Okay, so on that day, those two tests will enable, they will both terminate midnight, December 6th.
They're online? Yes! That's so exciting. Is that what that means?
What do you think enable means?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, we know the backstory.
Make sure when you cross a bridge in the next 5 or 6 years, make sure that it's not built by Miss Anthony. It'll say on the plaque, built by Miss Anthony.
Don't worry, I don't want to build bridges.
Okay, what you want to do?
You don't want to do it.
Brain surgery.
I actually did consider that at one point.
Okay.
And Carson made me want to be a neurosurgeon.
Good job. He's an incentive. All right. The second thing that will happen that day. This will happen. And the second thing is we will discuss homework and tests, as well as questions on the last stuff that we're doing, shell and disc and washer method. So,
Like review.
huh?
Like review.
Yeah, on the disc and shell. And I have been known, Mr. Brooks can verify this, I have been known to open up stuff, and Mr. Ryder can verify this, and Mr. Tenfold, I can't remember the last name, I'll remember it in a minute, don't tell me. Y'all can verify this. I have been known to open up all the assignments. I will not announce it, but I'll open them up and give you a week to do what? Catch up, do any homework that you didn't do, that kind of thing. Huh?
Or not.
Or nothing, or do nothing, What are you going to ask?
Oh, there's a like 0 out of 8, and it says like in class on the homework.
What'd you say?
Like on the homework, there's like a.
Don't worry about anything that says in class. That has to do with the in-class test. Yeah, don't worry about that. I'll delete that. That's when I'll delete that. And anything that I haven't covered, I will. If I haven't covered it, that means I'll what? Delete it. So that, don't worry about that. That shouldn't even show up. I don't even know why it's showing up, but don't worry about it.
Show up where?
Where's it showing up?
Like when you click on your grades and you go to the homework. Like,
Oh yeah, that is it. I'll delete it. Okay, so that's the two things we're going to do on the last day of class.
Wait, so that means we got to take 3 more tests?
Okay, that's the last thing we'll do on the last day of class. No, I'm just gonna go on your personality.
I ain't not work.
I'd rather you not.
Why? You got a good personality. All right. Next, final exam. So we can answer all the stupid questions on the final exam. 1, it's online. Now, yes, I'll probably get in trouble for it because,
Is that what it says enabled?
yeah. We are probably going to get in trouble for that, but I gave y'all 2 in-class tests. I think that's what I was supposed to do. It will follow the same format that y'all have been. It is cumulative. Okay, the eraser's working today. It is cumulative. Y'all make sure I spell this right because I always have a problem spelling words like that, necessary, and I can spell Mississippi. That's about the only word with a lot of letters I can spell. 4, probably, I don't know, some of y'all's questions are pretty drawn out, so it may be 25 questions, okay? Or less. I probably won't do more than that, 25, because some of them can be kind of aggravating, especially like substitutions and some of the not advanced, but a little advanced derivatives. 5, 2 hours, 2 attempts. Now, what have I been doing all semester with your attempts on your unit test? What have I been doing all semester? Okay, why would I change now? I always get a student that goes, "You gonna average those two together?"
Because you don't like it.
No, I'm going to do highest grade all semester, and then on your last test, I'm going to change, and I'm going to make more work for myself. Yes, I'm going to take the higher of the two. Okay? Here's the other question I get on the final exam. If I take the final exam and make an A on it, do I need to take it the second time? Do you get an answer? No, you do not. And you will be ignored if you come to my office and ask me that.
How much does the final count for?
I don't know. I'm going to go over that again. Believe it or not, I am going to go over that again. There's something else. Okay, it ends on the 6th. Go over that again. 6 ends midnight. December 6th.
Forgot your age.
Huh? Okay. Anything else y'all need to know about the finals?
So as soon as you click on it, it like the time starts. As soon as you open it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't play with it. It ain't like My Labs Plus. My Labs Plus, you might can go back to it. This, you better take it, because I don't know how they set it up. Huh?
You touch anything, it disappears.
Yeah. So you better just go ahead and take it. Don't play around with it. Because remember, these are engineers. These aren't educators. These are engineers, so they know everything. Anything else? Y'all got questions on the final exam? Now, the next thing. Things you'll be graded on. That sheet that I gave you. 20% is what? Homework. Everybody should make 100 on it, because I think I give y'all multiple times to do the problem, and I think I enabled where you could do another problem if you got it wrong. So everybody should do 100 on that. So that would be 100 times 0.2, which is 20. And then, of course, your Unit 1 test. And the last day of class, we'll be discussing all those tests. So if there's anybody that's got a problem with any of their tests and need me to replace a grade because of the disappearing answers or something like that, then we'll have to use that last day of class to do that. Okay? And we'll take care of all that. So Unit 1, I think that was I think there was a pre-test. Then there was Unit 1, which is derivatives. And I think I threw some limits on there. I kind of combined 2 tests at one time. The Unit 2 test, I think I have it up now, right? That's on antiderivative.
Actually, Unit 3.
What?
I think that one was Unit 1 and Unit 2.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is Unit 3. And then I'm on Unit 4 right now, so you got 3 tests, yes, or 4 tests. And then you got the in-class test. Now let me tell you what I'm going to do there. The in-class test, there was 2 of them. And I'll make it 1, and it'll be 100 out of 100 points. The in-class test, I'm going to make 2 in-class tests 1. 50 points, 50 points. If you took the first one, I'm going to grade them during the final week when y'all were doing finals. If you made a 50 on one, and you made a 50 on the other, then that's going to be 100. You with me? If you made a 50 on one and a 30 on the other, then you got an 80. If you made a 50 on one and you missed the second one, then I'll look at your grades and I'll pick a good grade out of your test and I'll convert it to a 50 grading scale. So if you made a 40, if you made an 80 on your Unit 2 test or whatever, and that in-class test is Unit 2, then that would be a 40. Then you'd have a 90. If you had a 50 and a 40, that'd be a 90 on your in-class test. I'm not going to let anybody, since the in-class test was stupid, I'm not going to let anybody fail because of that. I'm going to drop your grades in there. Okay? And if you want to, you can come back to me during that week of finals. When you see, it'll be called Hubert's in-class test, and it'll have a grade. If you don't agree with that grade, then come to my office and we'll talk about it and look at it and see. Okay? All of those, 60%. So you take the average of those 4 or 5 grades after you see them, and you multiply that by, let's say you got 100. Multiply that by 0.6. That's 60 points. And then, of course, what's the final exam? 20%. And you make 100 on that. That's another 100 times 0.2, which is 20. So if you add those 3 numbers up, you should get your grade. Now, you don't have to do this, because hopefully, after I get the grade book situated, it will do it for you. Okay, during the week of finals, and that's what I do. That's all I'm doing in my cubby hole. I go through and I check my Labs Plus, and I make sure everything's weighted. I check WebAssign. That's all I'm doing that week. That and answering questions, legitimate questions. That's pretty much it. So, and I'm pretty fair. I think anybody in here, besides 3 people that I've thrown out in 20 years, I think all my students will tell you that I'm fair. I do not, something else, I do not look for a way to fail you, even though I want to fail you. I can't. I do 59.49 and on up. In other words, I do 69.49, 79.49, 89.49. So if you have an 89.49, what is that? An A. Now the reason I do that is because I don't want anybody to say, oh, 89.5 and it won't. So I take care of that. Do not ask me for any extra points, because I've given you those extra points. I've given it to you through dropping, let's see how many tests we got. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you had 3 chances, I think, on each, or maybe 2 on that one. I don't know if I gave you 2 or 3 on that one. But anyway, the whole point is, let's say I drop 1 there, drop 2 here, that's 3. Drop 2 here, that's 5. Drop 2 here, that's 7. So you've had a chance to drop how many grades? 7 of your lowest grades. To me, that's extra points. Okay? You've had a chance to redo homework, to make that a good grade. The only thing that I cannot help you on is pretty much the final, but I do give you a what? I do give you second attempt. And I do open up everything at the end of the semester. So the only thing that's going to keep you from passing is what? Being lazy. I don't mean to offend anybody, but if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a what?
A goose.
Yeah. All right, one more thing I want to cover. Oops, sorry. And that is the next 2 weeks. So, I think that's the 16th, right? Next Monday, and the 23rd right here, right? So it'll be 24th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, and y'all know that I will not be here these 3 days, okay? And you don't have to worry about this, because the last day of class is right here. So that gives us the 17th. 17th is your last day, pretty much, of class. So, wait a minute, no, this is your last day of class. This day is when we still got 1 day to finish up areas, okay? So, today and 17th, we will finish up areas. The 19th, you can use that day to work on what? To work on anything you want to as far as calculus goes, because chances are after today, I'll open up all the tests and all the homework. So we'll continue to work on area here. And this right here will be homework, test, and area. Anything having to do with those three things, and I'll bring biscuits. Okay? I got to remind myself to do that. Y'all can bring biscuits on the 17th, and I'll bring it on the 24th. All right. Now, let's take, for example, I think we did one the other day. I think it was x cubed, f of x, was it the square root of x, or x? Yeah, x, okay. F of x is equal to x cubed, and g of x is equal to x. Okay, because I think we did it all the way, did we not? We did it like this. And we found the area because we multiplied it by 2. Remember doing this? Okay, but this time, we want to find the area of just one part. We want to find this area. Well, Hubert, that's easy. Just do it like we've been doing it. Well, they want you to do it by the disc and washer method. Disc and washer. What does that mean? That means rotating it around the x-axis. Now, the best thing to do here is just remember a disc and a washer. All right? When I was little, I don't know, my dad and the people that work on the farm were trying to redo a house. There was a house near the farm. Never did get redone, but they got the bathrooms done and the kitchen done, but then they sold it and then somebody else did it. But anyway, when I was little, I would play in the house while they were working, and you know the little electrical things, you know the little tabs that come out. I would collect them because I thought it was money. But those were little discs. Those little metal discs. All right? Think about a metal disc. Because if you was to drop a line right here, and I want to do this in colors. If you was to drop a single line right here, and you rotated that single line around the x-axis, what would it look like? It would look like one of those little metal discs. All right? And I'm going to try to find it on that thing, and you'll see it better on the three-dimensional thing. But basically, this thing will go around, and it would make a disc. Okay? That's what it would look like. So that's the disc. Go away. All right? And up here, if you was to take this guy and rotate it around, if you was to rotate it around the x-axis, what would it make? It would make a ring. Well, metal rings are called what? Washers, because it's flat. Okay? Now, my two-dimensional drawing on a three-dimensional graph doesn't work too well, so I'm going to try to find it on there so you can actually see it. And then, what do you use? You use your limit theory. You use your limit theory and go from 0 to whatever point that is right there. That's it. Now, do you use the same principle behind area between curves? Yes, you use the same principle. Because this guy's rotation, rotation means what? Pi. So you're going to have to multiply by pi. That's the only difference. And you've got to multiply, what's this called? If this is rotation, what is this called right here? This right here is called your distance, right? Because what's going to be going on? That disc is going to start right here. Think of the push-up. You know the push-up, orange ice cream? That plunger is going to be moving. Well, what's this disc going to be doing? It's going to be moving. So it's going to be moving along what? The x-axis. So this right here is going to be in there. So basically what you're talking about is you're talking about taking an integral and using pi. You can factor out pi or you can multiply whatever. I don't care. Pi times x, and let's see, the outer minus the inner. Now I'm just talking about the basic concept right now. I'm not talking about the actual, we'll turn to the book in just a minute. But here is your outer height. Call this the outer height. Minus the what? The inner height. And of course, that's where you get the what? The area between what? Two curves. You're technically doing that, but you're also rotating it around the x-axis. So instead of getting the area of a two-dimensional graph, which you were doing before, that's what you were doing here. From 0 to 3 of x cubed minus x dx. This right here that you were doing in, what chapter are we in? 6.1. Okay, 6.1 you were finding the area of a two-dimensional plat or map or picture. Now what are you adding to it? You're adding the third dimension, which is pi. You're adding that to it, and you're moving the calculus, you're moving this plunger all the way to 3. Now you know 3 because I think the other day, I think that's 3, isn't it? Let's go ahead and see. X cubed is equal to x. X cubed minus x is equal to 0. X minus x squared minus what? 1 is equal to 0. X is equal to 0. X is equal to plus or minus 1, but we don't need the negative 1, so that means it's what? Oh, it's plus 1. Okay, from 0 to 1. I don't know where I got the 3 from. Okay? So 0 to 1. Now, if you turn into your book, and I think it's very important that you see this because some people say that disc and washers are more complicated. I don't think they are. I think they're more fun. And the shell method is fun too. As soon as I can get my cursor back. Sorry. My cursor has disappeared and it's blue. I mean, gosh. Can y'all see it up there? There it is. See, somebody look in your book and tell me what page they show you disc. It'd be called disc and washer. There's where they get into it right there, but. That's the disc and shell right there. There it is. There it is, pi times x squared minus x to the fourth. Here's one we're doing right here. I didn't even see that one. That one right there. That's on page, can't find it, 442. And that's what it would look like right there. Or not, that's not what it would look like. It would kind of look like a, that's why I want it. Kind of look like a V-shaped vase with the middle coming like this. That's what it would look like. Let's see if it has the formula on the next page. They're talking about the outer and the inner there. Thought for sure that they would have it in one of those blue. Maybe I passed it.
You're talking about the problem we're doing?
No, I'm not talking about the problem we're doing. I'm talking about the actual formula for disc and shell. They should have it in here in a blue thing, and I'm trying to find it unless I'm running over it. Just give me a second. They just go to the shell method after that? Yeah. Let me go back to the beginning of 6.2. It's kind of hard to see on these pages. They're so little. Six point 1, 6.2. Well, yeah, that's the area between the curves of the volume right there. But that ain't what I'm looking for. Well, that's about the closest you're going to get right here. Cross section is pi times r squared minus x squared. That's f of x minus g of x. So pi times f of x minus g of x. Right there. Just go ahead and turn the page. Turn the page if you got your book, 442, because that's the problem I think we're doing right there. And that's going to be pi times x to the third minus x. So, and that's from 0 to pi. I think that's what we're 0 to pi, 0 to 1. So let's go ahead and do that. And while y'all are working on that, I'm going to see if I can pull up my handy dandy do-jigger. So pi times the outer minus the inner. So let me just go to the next page. And that's going to be 0 to 1. And I'm going to put pi out front of x cubed minus x dx. And that's going to be pi times x to the fourth over 4 minus x squared over 2, evaluated at 0 and 1. And that's going to be pi times parentheses to the fourth over 4 minus parentheses squared over 2. And I'm not going to do 0 because you don't have to. that's gonna be 1 and 1. And that's gonna be pi times 1/4 minus 2/4. And that's gonna be 1/4 times pi, or pi over 4, which comes out to be, I don't know, 3 divided by 4 is 0.75, somewhere around there. Somebody do the calculation for me. Around 0.75. Somebody look in your notes. What was our area the other day when we did, well, we can't. Well, we did 2 times. What was the area when we did this same problem right here? What was the area right here when before we multiplied it by 2? What was it? It should be the 1/4. It was 1/4, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the only difference between it. 2-dimensional, it was 1/4. You start rotating it. You start to rotate it, you get the pi involved. Okay? So let's try another one.
So it's basically the same thing, you're just multiplying by pi.
That's it. But you need to see it. And that's what I was wanting to show you, if I can find it while y'all are working on another problem.
Pi over 4, by the way, is 7.85, or 0.785.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, you just told some.
Thank you. I put an approximate right here.
Yeah. Well, you're wrong, so.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's always good to be told you're wrong. All right, why don't we try? Let me try one down here. Rotate and read example 4. Where's example 4? Okay. Find 2. Well, y is equal to 2. That's going to be. I don't want to do that yet. It says the region enclosed by the curve x and x squared is rotated about the x-axis. That's x squared. No, we did x to the 3rd, so it'd be a little bit different. Ours is above it instead of below it. That's the difference. So that's why they got a different answer. Let me find another one. Let me find one in the homework to do. X cubed, y is equal to 0, and x is equal to 1. Y is equal to x squared, no, y is